How Your Brain Works, Part 4, Input and Output Processing. In the last video, we considered the computational capacity needed to emulate all your brain's neurons. This video begins the description of what such a computer must be able to do. In considering any computer system, one useful place to start is with the available inputs and desired outputs. In the human brain, the primary inputs are the nerves from your senses, and the primary outputs are the motor nerves which control your body. We'll look at your senses and consider the initial processing which must be performed on the input signals to begin making sense of them. Starting with hearing and the signal processing done in your ears and auditory cortex. Your ears receive sound as a varying wave of air pressure, and the ear itself does some initial processing. When a sound of a particular frequency enters your ear, hair cells corresponding to that frequency vibrate and send out a stream of neural pulses. Your ears have thousands of hair cells tuned to different frequencies, so the ear itself outputs a parallel stream of neural impulses, each corresponding to the intensity of sound heard at specific frequencies. Your auditory cortex recognizes patterns of overtone ratios. These could correspond to different musical instruments. For example, you can recognize a violin or a trumpet independent of the pitch of the note being played. Similarly, different combinations of overtones correspond to various vowel sounds, hisses, clicks, buzzes, etc. So at this point, we'll be able to identify a number of different sound types and the pitch and intensity of each. At the same time, these signals branch off to your brainstem, which can also determine the direction the sound is coming from. This is likely the extent of the non-learned processing in the auditory cortex, with more advanced processing like speech recognition coming later. Similarly, your eyes combine with your visual cortex to do a lot of low-level visual processing. The high-resolution part of your eye is very small, with an image about the size of your thumbnail at arm's length. The lower resolution areas of your eye are sensitive to motion and changes in intensity, so your eye can be directed to focus on interesting areas. Your eyes dart around your visual field from feature to feature, so your brain can build up a more complete high-resolution image. But before that happens, we can expect that the visual cortex processes the smaller image to recognize boundaries, corners, curves, colors and textures, and motion. Also, the direction your eyes are pointing is key information to building up a complete image. Overall shapes, objects, and alphabetics, for example, will also come later. Your body is covered with sensory nerves, which send signals to the sensory cortex. These could represent touch, pain, heat, cold, all at specific locations on your body. A very important but often overlooked sense is the sense of the position of your body. With your eyes closed, you can move your hands, fingers, or other parts of your body and know where they are. The primary output of your brain is motor nerves. When a motor nerve fires, it causes a muscle to contract. While these nerves control big functions like running, they also control your speech and your hands. Even if the output of your brain is poetry or computer programs, it is all brought to the world through motor nerves. All the functionality presented so far in this video can conceivably be implemented with currently available software without a learning system. One could imagine a computer with microphones acting as ears, another acting as eyes, and another sensing and controlling a robotic body. Now let's start to consider what must be inside the big box. The first thing we can be sure of is a knowledge store which learns to convert audio information to words and phrases, matches visual information to areas and objects, and merges visual, auditory, and other incoming information. You learn very early that objects with a flat top and bottom can be stacked, you learn which sequences of phonemes represent specific words, and you eventually learn to associate stackable objects with the word blocks. But your brain is constantly coping with incomplete or erroneous input. You see erroneous text and presume the correct version. You see part of a three-dimensional object and presume the complete object. In this image, you can only see 3 quadrilaterals, and your brain presumes it's a cube. In this case, your brain is correct. In doing so, your brain makes numerous assumptions. It uses other cues to determine if a car image might be a toy car very nearby or a real car further away, even if the visual image is the same size. The task is made more difficult because you seldom see a complete car. You see just parts of an object and must assume the rest. This illustration shows how your visual system makes assumptions. The two ends of the object can be assumed to be three-dimensional, but your brain is not able to resolve the two ends into a single object. Most optical illusions play on the limitations of your perception and its ability to discern objects based on the visual cues it's given. When you see an optical illusion, consider what it says about how your visual processing must work. At this point, we have begun a model which can recognize objects and identify them with words. In the next videos, more processing features will give the first glimmers of intelligence. For more on this timely topic, read my new book, Will Computers Revolt? Preparing for the Future of Artificial Intelligence. Available now at Amazon and book retailers worldwide in paperback, hardcover, and ebook editions.